When I turned 14, it was finally time for me to start planning my quinceañera. As a Latina, this coming-of-age party that is celebrated when a girl turns 15 was pretty important to me. When I was younger, I would imagine my dream dress with my cousins and make Pinterest boards in anticipation for this quince I would one day have. Once while I was in Mexico, I was even lucky enough to get to go to one of my cousin's quince. Hers was pink, and it was loud, and it was sparkly, and it was gorgeous. And so much of our family was there, and it was just so complete. So I told my dad I was ready to start planning mine when he asked me why I wanted a quince. Because I'm Mexican, I told him. I was confused with the question, why wouldn't I want a quince? When he told me, no, you're Iranian. My dad is an Iranian immigrant. He was born and raised in Iran, then fled during the revolution. Farsi is his primary language. He cooks korma sabzi and kotlet at home, and we celebrate Nowruz, the Iranian New Year, every spring. However, at the same time, my mom's primary language is Spanish. She cooks lentejas and quesadillas at home, and we celebrate Dia de la Patria, Mexican independence, every fall. My mom is a Mexican immigrant. That makes me Mexican-Iranian American. My dad's comment stung a lot, but it was far from the first time someone had completely erased a part of my identity. In traveling to Mexico often, I came to the realization that in order to have proper credibility as a Mexican, I couldn't be Iranian. Because in the limited viewpoint of others, being Mexican just doesn't include having an Iranian dad. It's as if I had to pick a side. Who was I going to be today? Or more importantly, who was I allowed to be? Ariana Hajirasoliha or Ariana Ochoa? Whenever I meet someone, the dreaded question is always on their mind. Where are you from? Like, where are you really from? Or even better, what are you? And people are always intrigued when I answer. I'm diverse, I'm different, I'm exotic. However, I don't think people really think about what it actually means to belong to such opposing cultures. My parents are both extremely proud of their identities, and they believe that their cultures are the superior cultures, that their people are the superior people. Born from a love of their homes, they pushed it onto me that I was only worthy if I was who they are. And that's an unconscious thing too. The people they grew up with, the people they love, the surroundings they call home, are what they wanted to teach and replicate in me. However, how can I possibly be both at the same time in a country completely separated from theirs? There's this Hispanic saying that goes, ni de aquí ni de allá, which translates to not from here nor from there, and is used commonly among immigrants and children of immigrants who find themselves caught in this tug of war between their cultures from their homelands and the life they live in the United States. I'm caught in a three-way intersection, one foot in each road, but never completely walking one. In the end, I did get to have my quince. However, it was missing many traditional aspects that my dad was supposed to take care of. And my non-Hispanic dad had no idea what a quinceañera even was by no fault of his own. At first, I felt like a disappointment since I was different from my family. However, that just is a flawed way of thinking. I couldn't compare my cousin's quince, who was born and raised in Mexico, with mine, when I was born here and raised in two completely different cultures. It just doesn't fit. It hurts to yearn to belong with people you care about so dearly, but are just too different from. Racist remarks at the dinner table weren't ones I could ignore, because the butt of the distasteful joke was me. It's a different kind of hurt when the gun is being loaded by people who are your loved ones. And I knew I would always be the butt of the joke. I knew I would always be the target, not because they truly believe that I am inferior to them, but just because I'm different. I felt like a disappointment just because I was different from them. I followed and believed what stuck with me the most, and I was a deviation from tradition. These traditions or norms that I witnessed from my fully Mexican or fully Iranian side were not ones that I could compare with my life. Because in realizing that I am a deviation from tradition, I realized that I could just not compare them to me. In realizing that, I realized that I had to just give myself the clearance to be, to belong. Belonging isn't some pre-existing condition that comes with being a person. There's a certain beauty in feeling an affinity for someone who shares your culture. However, that doesn't grant you an automatic connection. You have to build that. And you can't do that by donning a lie. I was never going to find a place where I felt secure if I tried to be exclusively what each side of my family wanted me to be. I was only ever lying. And so while I let myself say the truth, that I'm Iranian and Mexican and American, that's when I was able to give myself the clearance to be, to belong. Because being comfortable in who you are, even if that's different, and especially when it's different from the people around you, is what it means to belong. To be is to belong. Thank you.